So actually today I'm in Switzerland. It's very nice little hotel, so the setup's a little bit different. It's about midnight and I'm just outside. But the markets were pretty eventful today, so I thought I'd do a video. So let's start off with the SPY. We did predict that the market would would open higher today, and SPY happened. 1% move across the board, so SPY, Nasdaq, Dow, Russel 2000. Now, although the markets went higher and it has been a pretty strong bounce since the low that we detected here on the ascending line, what caught my attention was the VIX. So obviously tomorrow, a lot of people are waiting on the CPI report. More likely, the markets move lower on the CPI report. Now, obviously, on the actual moment that the report comes out, I expect a bit of whiplash both sides, but I think the eventual direction will be down. Now, with that said, again, the VIX, so I'm not going to go through all the markets. They all look pretty similar. The QQQ are up, the Dow is a slight laggard, but all of them up respectively. But the VIX was also up, and not up like 0.5% or 1%, but up 4%. And that's pretty impressive for a day where the markets are up 1%. So I think that's a very telling sign for the implied volatility for tomorrow. So let's see what happens. I think the markets will move lower tomorrow. I think it'll be very tough for the markets to take out portfolio. We might bench up a little bit, but eventually close red. That's my prediction. I really don't think we're going to break out of this pennant to the upside. And again, if we do, we have an immediate support up here, resistance up here, so 430 for the SPY. But I think when the markets go this high and there's some sort of a big event, CPI print or Fed speak, usually the markets go back down to reality and actually go lower. So let's see what happens with the CPI report. My thesis still is that overall, even though we're bouncing, that's my prediction, is that we eventually flush, test, and breach below this ascending support line. You can see the pennant is getting very tight here. So yeah, something to watch out for. What I also noticed was the yields moving up, which you don't usually see. Now, it wasn't a crazy move up, but still, it was almost across the board a move up despite markets being up. So one of them should be wrong. Either yields will come back down or the markets will come back down. And I think it's the markets that will come back down as the yields basically flag higher and get ready to break out again. I'm going to look at the 30-year yield now, closing at the all-time high, or the local high, if you want to call it that. The 10 years just below. 10 years very significant. The 5 is just basically a copy of it. The 2-year closing at the new high, as you could say, and the 1-year too as well. So yields are up. VIX is up. These are sort of risk-off indicators. The markets are up. Yes, I thought that would happen because we're still in a sort of bounce mode. But a lot of sort of implied risk-off sentiment there with those other indicators. Another significant indicator was what happened to the dollar. Now, I already mentioned in my previous video that the dollar was showing signs of weakness and it could go lower, and that's what happened today, although it bounced off its lows decently. My first support zone was, let's say, 107.5. It tested sort of 107.8, so pretty close enough. Now, it doesn't mean we're going to go and test 107.5 or even this ascending line, but maybe we just sort of bounce here and go back up. So the dollar is still, the trend is your friend, the dollar is still king, so maybe we just go back up. I think tomorrow's CPI print will either flush the dollar a bit more or mark this as the bottom It depends obviously on the print. Again, I think we're going to have a bit of a whipsaw reaction either way as soon as the print comes out. Whenever there's news, I always notice that the markets just go one way and the other immediately on the 1 minute chart. So maybe the candle will be a bit crazy. Sometimes that's the case, but it's really where the market closes that's most significant. So let's see what happens. Again, I think the markets will go down, and I think the dollar will go up, and rates will go up, and VIX will go up. Let's see what happens. So yeah, I think those are the most important indicators of today. Now, with that said, let's go to commodities, because I'll start off with oil, although it's not the most important one. I think for today, what oil seems to have reclaimed its prior sort of price action. So we flushed this little ascending. I think we took out a lot of people with some stops and we came back up. So typical flush out there. That was quite interesting. Natural gas was up. So it had come back down here to test its prior sort of support levels. So that was quite meaningful. Now, most importantly, okay, copper also was sort of trending higher with the metals. Most importantly was silver. Silver had a crazy day. Now, we noticed silver was stronger than gold in particular in the last video, because there was a lot of, I mentioned that I would have expected gold to have a higher move, given what the market had done with its bounce, and usually gold acts with the market, sort of risk on, although it should be, but that's the way it trades recently. So I was stating that gold underperformed compared to the markets last week, end of last week. Silver really made up for that, and it had not been underperforming. Silver had acted like the market, but today was just wild, and I don't even know why. Actually, 5% move, and I think at one point it was 6. I'm not really sure why. Now, silver to me is a strategic metal. It's a monetary metal. It's incredibly undervalued. Some people say it's suppressed. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. It doesn't really matter. You have to trade either way. But today was a really impressive day. These are rare days, especially when you've got gold moving up 0.5%. I mean, silver to move up 5%. You'd expect gold to move up 2, maybe 2%, and the markets to be up, which they were. But I mean, this really outperformed everything. And you can see a candle like this is pretty rare. And in my opinion, thank God I keep these trend lines in, you can see that it basically touched what I would call the downtrend line here. So, if it breaks out of that, it's pretty significant. But then you'd have the next resistance at 20, let's say 21. But I don't expect it to do that. Even tomorrow, tomorrow, even if the CPI print is pro silver, I think you'd have a bit of trouble sort of taking out, or at least closing above this trend line, because of the majestic move it did today. So, but still very, very significant. I think now silver, a lot of people want to buy the drop in silver. So if we come back down here, let's say the market goes lower or whatever, and flushes to new lows, I think silver now has found itself very strong support around 18, just because of its reaction today, actually. So at least that's how I would see it. I would be buying silver very aggressively if we start to test 18, because already it's massively underpriced. Silver can always go lower. I was looking again, I was being a bit greedy, but then again, the market hasn't flushed the new lows. You never know. But point is, I'm going to be buying silver if we do test these $18 level, no matter what the market's doing. I think you get to a certain point where it's a bottom. It's like what the naysayers said, it's just a strategic asset. So I'm not sure what the news was. Maybe someone knows who can tell me. Maybe I'll find out by doing some research today. Maybe it's just a technical squeeze or some supply demand issue. I'm not sure what it was, but very welcome news, and very positively surprised by that. Now, having said that, we would expect the GDX, especially the GDXJ, to have performed a lot better. So the gold and silver miners, like SILJ, for example, is really the silver miners. If I look at the general index now, GDX, which is the more senior gold and silver miners, mainly gold. Let's just call it precious metals miners. You know, it was an up day, just like the market was. But if you think about Friday's close, how strong it was just on the descending line, which I mentioned, you expect a bit of a stronger day, maybe even testing 26, maybe just below. And we closed below the open, hence this red candle, at least on this trading view. GDXJ fared a little bit better, which is typical. Basically closed where it opened, but it gapped up, so that was up 2%. But again, you'd expect more if silver is up 5%. Now, thank goodness I'm not in ETFs, and actually you can't be in ETFs when you're trading from the EU. You're sort of forced to take on risk and become more precise and actually choose specific mines. Now, the miners I'm in, and I did actually sell whilst I was on the road, which is quite funny. I'll actually post a picture of me trading whilst I'm driving. Oh, actually, my girlfriend was driving in this particular moment. We didn't have any paper, so I had to write down my trades on my leg whilst trading from the car to get to this hotel. It's really funny, but anyway, I sold at the open. A lot of these I trimmed at the open. I trimmed what I bought. Basically, I sold the move up. Just use GXJ as a barometer. I sold the move up. I bought the move down. You know, sounds perfect, but that is what I did, and I did it based on the technical lines I've drawn, mainly on the SPY actually, and I've gone through that many times. So yeah, I bought back what I'd sold here, and then today I sold that, and I've still got my core position, so I don't mind if I keep going up. So Barrick Gold did not touch. I actually bought that at 1501 just here. I held that. I haven't sold that because I don't have enough of it, so I don't think I'll sell that for a while. Newmont, I hold too much of it. Didn't sell. I'm looking for 46, 49-ish. I don't know if it will get there, but I don't mind holding this on the way down because it's a very heavy defensive senior mine with great dividends. So no problem holding that. It goes low. Agnico did not sell it. I actually wanted to sell it just up here around 45.99. But I don't mind. It's a fantastic stock, so no worries if we go all the way back down. Wheaton didn't get to sell that. My sells that I placed were just a little higher on all these seniors. Otherwise, I'm happy holding what I've got. So American Silver, I did sell. Yes, I sold at 1669 or 59, 69. Must have been 69. Yes, it was. And you can see why. Very simple, obvious. I like to sell just below round numbers, 69 to get the fill. It typically works. It's like this ladder theory that I noticed myself and got some corroboration on with some other traders. It's just something that seems to work. So you'll see me always selling at the 0.4s, 0.9s, you know, anything but a round number. So I sold what I bought back down here, Pan American Silver, very good stock, but I just wanted to have something to trade with, you know. So since I bought here, sell it there, comes back down, buy the same or buy more, depending on what the general thesis is. But with silver being so strong, I'd probably buy back more. So great trade here, in my opinion, just textbook. Mag did not sell, should have sold, got pretty angry with myself for not selling. I had 13.99, missed it, didn't adjust, should have done 13.79 at some point when I saw it coming back down, didn't do it. But a fantastic stock with good news recently, so I don't mind holding what I've got. If it goes low, I'll probably add some more. But it might just go back up again, so who knows. Yamano had a terrible day. I bought that here. What was it? 31, I think. Just 31. I bought it. You can see the tight pennant here. So, I mean, and you can see why it faded around this area, but I don't own that much of it, and I'm looking for a high price spike based on the GFI, the Goldfields merger. So, didn't mind, but that's a pretty weak stock, given what the metals were doing, especially silver. It's not a silver stock, but still you'd expect it at least to be green. Gold fields, I can say the same thing. You expect it at least to be green today. Now we get to the silver stocks. So First Majestic, I trimmed that. 849, I think it was. So I trimmed it a bit early, but silver had a great day, so it doesn't surprise me that it closed higher, or at least ventured higher at some point. Fortuna, I sold it at 260. I wanted 259, but I saw it at 260 pre-market, so I took that. EXK. I don't think I sold this one. I think I was going for 339 or something, or 335, just under. And you can see I'm always trying to sell just under the last test here. Didn't get there, so I didn't sell it. I don't mind though. CDE, which is the one that I really spoke about on the last video, the fact that it closed above the downtrend line. I sold this, and this one did fantastically. At some point, it was up 30%. I sold this one at 331. Yeah, I think it was 331. I think I wanted to do 329, but it was 331 pre-market. I took that. And it went all the way up to 340. Let me move this. This is now forward. Went all the way up to 340. Wow, look at that. 345. Crazy move. And it already did a nice move there. And I mentioned Curl Darlene CD. That one really can move. And if you look at the stock, I mean, this is just coiled for a move up, which is what it started to do, especially on a day where silver's up 5-6%. So I'd sold some though on Friday just at the close here because I thought just in case we come back down because I had too much in it. But I still have a lot, and this was a good day for me, so sold some more. TPRFF, I had issues selling that at 289. We never went there, so I replaced it at 282. I could have got a better sell, but I just wanted to sell something before the market closed. These guys basically closed. They haven't been trading for a few days. Trillium or Termalino. It's a bit strange, but it's fine with me. They also don't trade when the market's red, so no problem. Fortitude, I added that at 601 a few days ago. I thought it was a bearish close, but it's a bit of a special stock. I think we curl here at $6 no matter what the market does, because it's a bit of a special stock. It ignores the general trend sometimes of the sector and of the market. And I think we'll go back up to test high sixes. So I don't own too much of it. I want to add more, but I won't add now because I've already added at 6. So maybe we'll go lower to 5 at some point. I'll add then. I think it's an 8% dividend, so no problem. Rain of Silver sold some on Friday because of some nice news. And why is there so many candles here? I sold it on this day here at 26. I remember. I forgot what day it was. And today I tried to sell some at 30, didn't get filled. My sell was initially at 32 because of this downtrend line. And then towards the end of the day, I tried to sell it around 30, just underneath. I didn't get a fill. I'm going to try and sell it tomorrow no matter what silver does, as long as it's around this zone, just to reduce the value of the stock, because I don't like to hold too much in one stock. I'll try and cover that in one of my separate videos. That's it really for the gold and silver miners. So it was a good day. I sold a lot of them at higher prices from where they closed. A lot of them I missed, like the seniors, but I don't mind because I see them as very defensive and credible stocks to own on the way down. So very happy. Still want stocks to go lower. Still think they'll go lower. Still have a plan for both ways. If it's lower, I know how much to buy of what stock. I'm very happy with the stocks I own. I got rid of a lot of the sort of non-performing stocks that I owned before a few weeks, months ago, especially months ago. So I'm happy holding what I have, and I have a plan for both ways. So as you could see, the markets went higher. I didn't expect it to go higher too much, but I had a plan in place already. Just have to adjust the price and the shares to sell. And that's all I will cover for now. The other alternative stocks I own, nothing to speak of, and I really should do a separate video on all of them because they cover different sectors. I mean, Paramount is pure, streaming stock. Oakley is sort of agriculture related. Hive is cryptocurrencies. Mind Medicine is mushroom, marijuana. These three here, DDD, NNDM, DM, are 3D printing, what I think is the future. I'm trying to make a new, it's interesting actually, I'm trying to make a new diversified sector holding of these, a bit like I've done with the miners. And finally, you have Tilray, which is a wheat stock. Anyway, I'll cover those in a different video. I don't have too much in these anyway, although I do in Trillion actually, which is a oil gas play, which did very well today. I actually sold that at 42. Fantastic in the car right here. I hit the bid, amazing. Because I believe that equated to, and this is the Canadian equivalent, it equated to the high, the last high day of just below. So very happy with that sell. I should really do separate videos on these. But anyway, for gold and silver, nice day, especially silver. Let's watch out for tomorrow. The party could end early because of CPI print and because of what I've seen in the VIX, interest rates, the dollar possibly bouncing, and also because of how much the actual markets came down towards the end at some point. Then they rallied again. So I just have a feeling that we'll actually go lower. And if we do, it's another lower high. And then we hit this ascending. And I think if we hit the ascending 4 times, we'll flush. So for me, the bias to the downside, but always have a plan for both sides. All right, thanks, guys.